What if I told you that your whole family can say no to God? I mean capital no to God, and God will be cool with it. In fact, He won't just be cool with it, He will be proud of you. I know you'll be wondering why I said so. Just sit back and let me unveil this stubborn family that says no to God, and God was very proud of them. That family is called the Rechabites. In the book of Jeremiah chapter 35, you will find this intriguing story about this stubborn family I'm talking about. God sent Jeremiah to go get them, take them to church, and offer them wine to drink. Jeremiah did as God commanded him. He took every member of the family to church, in fact to the secret chamber where not everyone is allowed to go to. After explaining all that God had told him, and then he set the table with wine. And to Jeremiah's amazement, this family says no to Jeremiah. Telling Jeremiah no is like telling God no, because Jeremiah is one of the most revered prophets in his days. In our time, we can call him one of the God's generals. Yes, God sent Jeremiah. There was something this family did, and it's so amazing. They told Jeremiah, we don't doubt the fact that these things you are saying were not true, but we have a family principle that governs our family. And this principle is handed down by our father from his own father, which is Rechabite. And they said, this is how we operate. We will not drink this wine. And in case you are not aware, they went further to tell Jeremiah other things that they hold as a family principle. In case Jeremiah may come tomorrow and said, God also said you should do this. If you read that chapter, there were other things. They said, we live in tents and we are not allowed to build, and some other things. So it's not just about the wine. It's about the principles that were handed down to them, and they were faithful in keeping to it. So God came back to Jeremiah and told Jeremiah that, can you see, that was what actually made God to send Jeremiah, I guess. That if a mortal man can give commandment to his lineage and they are faithful in keeping to it, how much more the Most High will give instruction to his children, to the Israel, and they never obey it. It's about obedience. It's about being faithful. God was very angry that if a mortal man can give commandments and other mortal men can keep to that commandment from generation to generation, and then he has sent a lot of prophets, men of God, to his people, yet they disobeyed, and God had to pass judgment upon his people. And then God went ahead to reward this family. If you read to the end, God said something. He had to route his destiny plan on earth through this family. He said, as long as this earth remains, the Rechabites will not lack anyone to stand in the courts of God. Because of their faithfulness, God was moved. It was just a test. I believe if we were to be in our time, many will fail this test. I won't be surprised. Some men of God will end up cursing even that family. Come on, God sent me and I asked you to do this, and you did not. In our days, 90% will fail that test. After all, I didn't meet the man of God in the club. In fact, to make the matters worse, he took them to church and also to the secret chamber just to make sure you can do it quietly and silently and no one will know. I want to challenge us. What is that thing that one can point to your family? What is the signature of God over your family? And parents too. I want to challenge us, because most times we tend to blame the younger ones. I'm sorry to say this, the parents are not even an example. Most of the things we said is papa, is mama, our father in the Lord and all that. It is your duty as a father. There is something the scripture called parental blessing. It is conferred upon the father to do that. But most times we shift it to church, shift it to our men of God. So everything they dish out, whether wrong or right, we don't care. But this family, there is something unique about them, that they know this is not consistent with God. Even God is the one saying this, but this is not the God that our parents handed down to us. That is the challenge we might be facing today. I challenge parents to do your best. There are things that only you can do. If you look at the story of Jacob and his son, said Reuben, when he passed the judgment on Reuben, it was the father that pronounced that. But it took Moses to get to another realm of higher authority in the spirit to say, let Reuben live. Because that law stood as a father, you have the right to bless and to curse your children. And if you are not an example, you can't even be an authority, because the first priest over the family is the father and not the pastor. They are doing their best, but let us not put everything on the pastor. Let's do our part And then there is a place for the priestly blessing from the temple also. I pray that this peace will bless your heart, inspire you. What is that signature on your family that men can see and said, what? This is what governs this family. They were very clear about it. I tried to compare it with that of the 3 Hebrew boys. They were not careful to answer Jeremiah on this matter. They had to list other things in case Jeremiah will come back tomorrow and said, it is God that said this. So let it be known to Jeremiah. This is how we live. Grace and peace.